Hey folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Direct to YouTube special. Today we will be playing Mitchell S's Solemnity Depths deck. Okay, you're probably familiar with our good old Legacy staple Dark Depths. If you manage to take all of the ice counters off of this, you get a 2020 Marit Lage token. That's old news, right? And normally we do this by using either Vampire Hexmage or Thespian Stage to remove all of the counters from it. But what if it never has any counters in the first place? Enter Solemnity. Players can't get counters, and counters can't be put on artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or lands. So if you have a Solemnity in play, and then you get a Dark Depths, oops, I accidentally just Marit Laged. That's the game plan. That is the primary thing that this deck is trying to do. The second thing it's trying to do is assemble Solemnity plus Phyrexian Unlife. Phyrexian Unlife says that you don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. Sounds good. As long as you have 0 or less life, all damage is dealt to you as if its source has Infect. Now, if you remember, Infect gives you counters. What's that? You can't get counters. All of a sudden, things sound pretty good. Now, supporting cast for this deck is a bunch of ley lines. So because we have this Enlightened Tutor package to go and find our Solemnities or Phyrexian Unlifes, we also want to play some more enchantments. So this deck also has the Leyline of the Void Helm of Obedience combo, which might randomly give us some wins versus combo decks or shut off some Uros. And it also has Leyline of Sanctity, which goes and gives you hexproof. Now, one of the most common ways to get rid of a Marit Lage token is a targeted edict effect, which those tend to target players. So this can be a way of protecting our combo or protecting our hand from discard. I don't know how it's going to feel having 8 ley lines in the main deck without like Brainstorm to save us and like shuffle those redundant effects away. We'll see how it goes. One other thing I want to comment about the main deck, this main deck is playing a whopping 25 lands, which seems approximately like a billion lands to me. I get that 4 of them don't produce mana and are really more of combo pieces. But this mana base is using Silent Clearing to kind of mitigate some of that. It is trying to mitigate having so many lands by playing Silent Clearing. There, that's a better way to say that. I made some minimal changes to the sideboard of this deck list. I wanted to update this to play the new Strixhaven card Fracture over Disenchant. And I made some other minor adjustments as well. The original list had 3 lands in the sideboard, but without any cantrips or the ability to find them one of lands, I don't think works particularly well in this deck. So I think I added a couple Swords to Plowshares, a Plague Engineer, and then a Deafening Silence in the sideboard. I wanted to be able to tutor for something that could be played early on in a game versus combo. We have Leyline of Sanctity and Leyline of the Void, which sometimes do the things we're looking to versus combo. But I wanted to have the ability to just find something like so that I could Enlighten Tutor in my upkeep and then play something for 1 or 2 mana afterwards. And I figured either a Deafening Silence or an Aethersworn Canonist would probably be a good fit for the deck. Overall, it's usually fun making 2020s, and I'm sure we'll probably turbo through this league one way or another. Alright, if you're excited about my content, please consider throwing me a like before we get started. That's one of the biggest predictors of my video success. And let's beat some people to death 20 points of damage at a time. Or, alternatively, sit and stare at each other for a while Phyrexian Unlife and Solemnity are in play. I'm good with that too. Alright, the good news is our opening hand has some sweet combos. We have Solemnity and Dark Depths, as well as Solemnity, Phyrexian Unlife. However, I have 1 usable mana. Light and Tutor does not find Vampire Hexmage. Or, does not find Dark Depths. This hand has no plan. I think I mulligan to 5. I don't know how aggressively I'm supposed to mulligan in this deck, but like Hexmage Tomic I don't think is a great hand. Can you feel my pain through the screen? This is 4 white cards, and, yikes. Alright. Alright. I will keep 4 of these cards. We will keep Solemnity, Dark Depths, and then 2 lands. Alright. Theoretical combo is here. Kind of. I need another land so that I can play the Dark Depths on turn 4. Or, hear me out, we could go for it on turn 2. I think I play that like that. The Dark Depths is pretty important to what I've got going on here. I get Wastelanded. I think I want this Wastelanded first. Am I a coward? A little bit of a coward. I can just jam and then go for like Solemnity, Phyrexian on life afterwards if shit doesn't work out. Let's jam. Like, I mulliganed into Oblivion. I think I just need to try to make this work. Alright, in response to my opponent fetching, I would like to make my 20/20. Do they have the Stifle? Find out. Okay. I was really hoping that my opponent would play loose and just, like, fetch on my end step and just let me do that for free. But again, I don't think I really get to play around very many things when I'm this far behind. I think this is like try to mise a win somehow. Stifle is going to be very good against me. I just don't know that we're going to be good against like the Stifle Wasteland counterspell deck, just conceptually. But this Solemnity resolving would be cool as fuck. That's a bingo. I get to at least attempt a Marit Lage next turn. This bodes well for me. I don't think that I want to be casting Enlightened Tutor just yet. But I'm not getting stifled. Guess I can float a black mana here, question mark. If nothing else, this one's tapped, so I know which one I need to keep. Alright, well, I just did a dumb. Um, I guess I'll resolve this while I'm doing it around other cards. Grab the Phyrexian Unlife. Sorry, I'm currently using some mental energy on something else. So apologies there. That was a very obvious thing I should have played around. Alright. We'll draw a land, everything will be fine, maybe. I'm not super hopeful here. Like, I both have to hit the land, and my opponent can't have Daze, or Force of Will, or Force of Negation. They have 3 cards left in hand. Uh, 4 plus level up, 5, 6, 7. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and concede this one. Give me just a sec. Okay, sorry. I had some background noise that I was not successfully tuning out that game. My focus wasn't 100% there. This should help considerably. Okay, we want to have some number of answers to my opponent's stuff. The Tomics, I guess, are technically nice. Gosh, Enlightened Tutor is such a bad magic card. Um, this deck is built around it, but like taking that turn off is just so damning versus a deck like Delver, where taking a turn off to do something like Enlightened Tutor just represents so much damage. Leyline of Sanctity largely seems unnecessary. I'm going to board that out. I'm going to get some answers to my opponent's creatures in here. I want Pithing Needle for Wastelands, I guess. I guess the Leyline Helm can stay as a backdoor win. Hymn to Turok doesn't seem awesome. If I can sub Hymn to Turok for removal spells, I kind of like that. So I can get like Deluge, Plague Engineer, Collective Brutality in here. This is a boarding plan. I could also think about the Replenish just as something that can get most of this stuff back after it gets countered, but I don't know that that's actually all that great. Solemnity 3 mana or 2 mana? Solemnity is 3 mana. This Enlightened Tutor doesn't find all my stuff. Like, I can't just use it to find a Dark Depths and then just like go ham this hand. I think I'm keeping this 6-card hand though. Ugh. I have the Marit Lage side of the deck along with 2 things that don't really go with that, which is awkward. So I need to throw back one of those 2 things. The Enlightened Tutor is more flexible, but a worse card in the vacuum. I think I'm going to get rid of my more flexible card here. Mana's a little bit awkward here because I have a white-white and a black-black card, and if I get wastelanded, things are awkward. But I want to have access to both of my colors after a wasteland. Quick shuffle with that ponder. Avoid being wastelanded. So I guess I might as well talk about this in round one. I was planning on talking about this in the outro after I had experiences with this league. But generally speaking, it has been my viewpoint that Enlightened Tutor is no longer really a playable legacy card. It used to be pretty reasonable, but now giving your opponent that time to set up is kind of rough when there's like Force of Will and Force of Negation in the format. And just the tempo loss is so scary when the blue decks now have a 6/6 threat that they can pretty regularly and consistently get into play or get back into play. And so like taking that turn off for that card selection is so rough. Legacy is just faster now than it used to be. And I've just been very unimpressed with Enlightened Tutor. It just feels like a dead card in so many of my hands. Having no immediate impact on the game is really rough for a legacy card. And having no impact on the game, plus being a source of card disadvantage at the same time, is brutal. Alright. Am I gonna get spell snared? I don't blame them for brainstorming in response to this, because if this resolves, I have the ability to potentially just play Dark Depths and make a 20/20. And double days me then. Yep. Things are not looking good for the home team. Well, I want to be able to go Vampire Hexmage into Dark Depths, so I'm going to crack this using my white, even though it takes me off of that color for this turn awkwardly. So this Enlightened Tutor is a dead card, right? So if I cast this Enlightened Tutor, the thing that I would want to get is Solemnity, but I can't go and get Solemnity because I don't have the white to cast it after I cast Enlightened Tutor. So this was just a dead card that I just drew. I need to take a live draw next turn and attempt to make a 20/20. And if the Delver flips, I'll still die if I make a 20/20. Well, I guess if the Delver flips, they just have 8 this turn, and I die immediately, actually. Alright. GG's. This is what we're gonna do this league. We came here to mulligan. Enlightened Tutor and Leyline of Sanctity are both do-nothing cards in this hand. I have to mulligan this again and try to find something that works. Phyrexian Unlife, Solemnity, Junk, the other cards. It's not exactly a feel-good keep by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't know that I get to keep the Hymn to Turok there. I'm actually pretty happy to not expose myself to Wasteland here. Masquerading as a fair deck. Blue-black, maybe ninjas. Ninjas would have probably had a turn 1 play, though. Could be Ant, could be some sort of Baleful Strix pile. So my opponent played Swamp and then pondered. Is interesting. I don't think I want to play this Urborg for the benefit of my opponent here. I don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. Once I have a Phyrexian Unlife in play, that could be pretty good against Tendrils. This could also be the Peer Through the Depths combo deck. That uses like Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Lotus Petal, Peer Through the Depths, like draw their library, Tendrils you. Also be Doomsday. Which is part of the reason why I didn't play the Urborg. Could be a Bearbug deck. Bearbug deck. In which case, the Solemnity Phyrexian Unlife combo is not going to do a damn thing because my opponent will kill me and then, like, Abrupt Decay my relevant card. Let's take the relevant deck thinning here, I guess. Just play the Phyrexian Unlife. Yeah, I think just either side of this just gets decayed at some point, and I am a sad panda. Oh, good. Leyline of Sanctity. That will probably have a profound impact on the game. Where's my opalescence? How is this causing my opponent to respond? Sure, you can return my Phyrexian on life. I'll gladly cast that later. I don't know, maybe this leyline is like so do nothing that I really should have just drawn a card with Silent Clearing in that turn cycle. Yeah, maybe let's start there. Sure, I will play another. Now my other Leyline of the Void, has some relevant text. If I can get it in play before my opponent has 5 cards in the graveyard for Uro, but that's pretty unlikely at this point. They already have 4. And I'm probably not killing the Uro. Oh, it's the Witch! I guess I should not have played that land if I'm going to cycle Silent Clearing, because I can draw exactly Dark Depths and it punishes me. Okay, didn't get punished. Alright. So now we're going to see this. Oh, nope, not yet. I was about to say now we're going to see this card spiral out of control. And we could also just instantly die at any moment to the Chain of Smog combo if that's something that my opponent is playing. Well, I guess we don't instantly die, but my opponent can create a very large number of creatures. Yeah, alright, so we should assume Chain of Smog is in my opponent's deck. This doesn't target, does it? Each opponent. Nice leyline, idiot. Alright. So I'm playing some 2/2s. I see. They're just like offering this up to me. You're a 3/2. I'm a 2/1 with first strike. I mean, I accept. You can already make enough cards for Uro, so like, oh, it can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. Menace, right? That's a line of text that's on this card. And if you want to blow removal spells on my Hex Mages now, that's fine with me. Like, my Dark Depths already turns into Marit Lage due to Solemnity. Fourth color confirmed. Oh, just multiple. I guess I'm glad those are going at those instead of a Marit Lage, right? Like, that's good for me at the end of the day. My opponent can't Uro this turn. Opponent's deck officially better than my deck. We'll hit them, though. We shall take some of their cards. Oh, they had the chain. Very nice. And a third Swords to Plowshares. So last turn, couldn't my opponent have made, like, infinite creatures and drained me to 0? Not that that kills me, but could have been an Abrupt Decay away from death. Although, admittedly, I'm still probably an Abrupt Decay away from death. My opponent is going to get at least 2 card draws each turn in order to find an answer to my permanence and kill me. You can just attack all. Oh, fuck. They just plus that this turn, and then the next turn they just bounce my Solemnity or Phyrexian on life and kill me. That's pretty brutal. Yeah. Alright. Cool. Yeah, so they just bounce my Phyrexian on life and murder me. Yeah, I have Hexproof. This doesn't do anything to my permanence. Okay. Do this replenish thing, I guess. Let's take Leyline of Sanctity out of the deck. I guess let's get a few more Swords to Plowshares in here so I die less easily. I could Deafening Silence so that I can't get immediately killed by the Chain of Smog combo. I don't know if that's actually good. My opponent probably can't really do much to my lands, right? Unlikely to be Wastelands in there, so I can sub this for like a Deafening Silence, and then I guess I could Collective Brutality as a duress effect. Eh. Um, I just don't feel like I have good options here. Uh, this hand doesn't do anything. Like, I cast a Hymn to Turok, I have a reactive spell, a combo piece. I think I need to be fishing for a hand that does something. I guess this has Solemnity, Phyrexian on life, so I'll keep it. I'll throw back the redundant Dark Depths here. I have to just get 3 mana for Phyrexian on life, though. So I still, or for Solemnity, though. So I still just need more land. Well, I need to take that Brazen Borrower, or my opponent can answer a Marit Lage. It's round 2, so it might be early to say this, but I think this entire deck just needs to be rebuilt. I need fast mana. Like, I am not comboing fast enough or consistently enough for my liking. And these opening hands have just looked so bad with the Enlightened Tutors and the white ley lines. Not that the black ley lines are particularly good either. I guess I'm just gonna like fetch here, thin the deck, play around random stifle. I don't know. I'm not expecting Wasteland from my opponent's side of the battlefield, and it's pretty free for me to make that decision. Alright, let's just see if I die to my opponent's combo this turn. But I think I need to play the Solemnity this turn to go for Dark Depths next turn. Usually the Chain of Smog is a 2 or 3 of in these sorts of decks. I think this just has to be one of those, like, hashtag no fear times. Guess I cast Phyrexian on life first. Alright. I have completed 2 combos. Solemnity Dark Depths and Solemnity Phyrexian on life. Long pause from our opponent here. Maybe they were not prepared for this. Alright, so now my opponent casts a Brainstorm in my end step. I don't know how many answers they're going to have to a Marit Lage. Sometimes these decks play a Caracas, so that could be something that my opponent could have. They just play it to bounce their own Uro and recur it that way. There might be another Brazen Borrower. It's not crazy for them to have, you know, some Echoing Truth or Edict sort of card out of the sideboard. My opponent could also just go like Abrupt Decay and Chain of Smog kill us too. Also, like, assuming neither one of these permanents goes away, there's nothing I actually want to Enlighten Tutor for, which is kind of rough. Okay. Goodbye, Marit Lage. Yeah, I don't think I want to cast this Enlighten Tutor. It's just that bad. I'd rather him my opponent who has 5 cards than cast the thing that is supposed to tutor for combos in my deck. Like, I can't tutor for a Solemnity that just kills my, or for like a Dark Depths that just allows me to, you know, outright do my thing. Since I can't peck at this Teferi and kill it, it's just gonna sit there and then bounce my shit again later. Should have Swords to Plowshare in response to that. It probably saves me 1 life. Now that I've already made my mistake, I'm not going to Swords to Plowshares in response to this. I'm gonna make them make decisions about like cards like Force of Will and Force of Negation first before knowing that this is an option that can happen. Yeah. Oh, right, I don't get to respond at instant speed. Okay, never mind, I didn't play this turn wrong. Like, I don't have the mana to cast something like a ley line. I don't have a ley line for a helm. Like, I don't have the 4th mana to Enlighten Tutor for something and play it in the same turn. Alright, that's just a wilt. I think I'm pretty much at the point where if my opponent just, like, plays another threat, I'm just going to die. Like, this Teferi alone is horrendous because it means that, like, me getting a Marit Lage is not realistically possible anytime soon. I also can't really crack this Silent Clearing unless I draw another card. Another land, rather. Because I just need 3 lands to do the things that are in this deck. Alright. Oh shit, 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 shit. I don't get to play at instant speed. Please allow me to telegraph my play to my opponent. I have a Flusterstorm. I'm just gonna get, like, very sadly surgicaled. Nope, not this turn. Hey, you know it's gonna be cool? Casting a Solemnity, playing a Dark Depths, having my opponent minus their Teferi and kill a second Marit Lage. I'm so very dead. Hardcast the Force of Will. Creatures can't be counters can't be put on artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or lands. Planeswalker. Alright, well. I just need to get rid of this somehow, right? And maybe we'll top deck 2 combo pieces in a row. That is just a 3-turn clock, by the way. Good name from my opponent as well. Alright. I will Swords to Plowshares the thing that kills me, and then my opponent will Rip Burrow, and I'll be sad. But I don't think I have much say in it. I have so few decisions in playing this deck. If we look at the disparity in clock between me and my opponent, that's just because I am F6ing every single turn. Like, I have no real interaction with my opponent. I'm just kind of forced to play my cards when I draw them for the most part. There's some weird situations like this where I can wait a turn and try to grind a little bit more value out of cards, but outside of those sorts of situations, it's just play the top card of my deck every turn and hope it kills my opponent. Alright, Swords to Plowshares and a Chain of Smog. We're not going to die to infinite combo. We're going to die to a couple of pecks from this instead. Alright. This will be good for comedic effect. I'll play this, and then I'll get my opponent's Uro. I'll gain 3 life, draw a card, and then my opponent will get an Uro, and I'll die the next turn. Sure. That will leave me with basically 0 outs. I get attacked down to 1 here. I can draw a Phyrexian Unlife, followed by a Solemnity. Other than that, I don't think I have any outs. Yeah. We kill one of those, and then I die to the other. Okay, I have Solemnity and Dark Depths combo. I have a Hymn to Turok that I'm not going to be able to cast. I have a Tomic that I guess I can cast. I guess I keep this, but like I don't have a clear plan unless I draw extra things off the top of my library. So maybe I'm supposed to mulligan this. So the plan is, as long as I draw a land, I have a turn 4 Marit Lage. I guess that's just about the best that this deck does. Okay, there's another land. That means that I can play a Hymn to Turok on turn 2. Marsh Flats, an island. Stoneblade? Okay. Maybe some sort of Esper Mentor deck. Let's just fetch to Thin. I don't want to draw more land. Oh, well. That's certainly not bad. I can Hymn this turn and then X-Mage Depths next turn. Esper Vial. I can't imagine ever winning this matchup. Ever. My opponent has so much bounce, so many ways to answer Marit Lage. Let's get lucky. I'll make it now. This sometimes plays into a 1 of Teferi, but plays around a potential Wasteland sort of effect. Plays into the second Swords to Plowshares. It's cool. Their opening hand only had 3 different ways to deal with my Marit Lage that I know of. We've lost. Yeah, not gonna beat that. I guess the cool thing is that Solemnity has text against Ether Vial and against Soul Herder. So that's nice. But now, like, my opponent just recruiters for something that beats a Marit Lage, and it's bad for me. Oh, they just got a Baleful Strix. Sure, I guess that's fine. They've still just got, like, chump blocks available, though, so... Not like me having a Marit Lage even means anything. So now my opponent has Blink Baron every turn available to them. My spirit is broken. Like, I can't win this matchup. There is just no way that I can win this matchup. Flicker Wisp 2? Yeah. Concede match? It's at least concede game. Because, like, my opponent blinking Baron every turn just means that I can't even, like, lock them out the soft way. And they have, like, Savine's Reclamation as well. Yeah. Just brutal. Get these out of the deck. I'll bring in a couple of things that can answer their creatures. Yes, the Plague Engineer too. I don't even know that I want to be thoughts using my... Well, maybe the only way I win is, like, I punch a hole and I just go off. I don't have time to Enlighten Tutor, I don't think. I also don't know that I get to, like... cut that card, though. Like, if I can cut this package, I would love to cut this package. Do, like, this. This. That doesn't really feel great, but it's probably good enough. No land mulligan. I guess I keep this sort of awkward fair hand. I think I'll throw back the Plague Engineer. So I'm going to play a Hymn to Turok, and then I'm going to play a Hymn to Turok, and then my opponent will get a card advantage engine into play, and I will be sad. That's approximately how I expect this will go down. My Urborg is going to fix my opponent's mana. It's going to be very upsetting. So is my other Urborg. I probably have to make my land drop this turn. It's kind of bad, too. Then it lets my opponent know that they can fetch Tundra and have blue, blue, white, white in their terrible mana base. But I really am going to need all my possible lands in play. Because I have these overcosted cards in my deck that I have to cast, so I just don't think I get the luxury of skipping land drops right now. Yeah. God, this lightning tutor is bad. I don't even think I cast it. I think I try to like draw half of the combo and then use the enlightened tutor to find the other half. Yeah, no way in hell I can beat this deck. Just not possible. I am trying to farm value out of this Toxic Deluge by letting my opponent hit me a couple of times and then just answer multiple cards at once. Yeah, that's fine. I'll take my 2 for 1. Opponent gains 3 life going to 22, you know, just in case that's necessary. I'm not going to play around them Swords of Plowsharing their own creature to make Soul Herder a 3/3. They've got it, but I already have leveraged my life total a little bit. Yeah. Let's duress them and kill a creature. Choose target opponent. Choose target creature. Pay 2 mana. Discard the redundant and useless Urborg. I assume my opponent has like a Force of Will. They've been sitting on one card that they haven't played. These Swords to Plowshares. Sure. I mean, I'm good with that. Okay, now I know I can go and get a Solemnity with Enlightened Tutor. I will go ahead and Thoughtseize my opponent. I just don't want their last card to be a counterspell. My opponent even has Caracas. So I guess I need to... Seal of Cleansing just blows up the Pithing Needle, too. You know, I think for my sanity, I'm just gonna scoop this one up. Like, my opponent has every tool needed to just pummel me into the dirt, and even if I win this one, I don't think I can take another game. I'm gonna scoop this one up here. This is not amusing. I've suffered enough. So this is a reasonable 3-card hand. Do I keep it? I probably don't keep it. Ugh. Okay. See, there we go. This is fine. Dare I say, even, this is good? We, uh, we might be able to get on the scoreboard, put up a game win here. Like, turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 2020, just shove it all on the table and see if my opponent can deal with it. Okay. So Cabal Therapy is the only card that I care about here. That's the only thing that can disrupt me. I will take that. Alright, I think we should just win game 1. I will pretend to be a real Legacy deck now. And then my opponent will just make 3 Arclight Phoenixes and jump block me forever and I'll die somehow. They probably need like a dark ritual to do that. Because they need to get up to 3 mana to cast the Buried Alive to get the Phoenixes. Okay. Alright. I can't have one freebie. Well, I will start sending a Marit Lage at my opponent's face as many times as I can. Ah, good draw. And like my opponent gets to attack me for 6. Maybe 9. Like my opponent can just play a bunch of spells and then like bring it back, attack for 9. No, maybe not. Then they die on the backswing. I could very easily just get 3-turned by Arclight Phoenixes that keep coming back. This turn sucks. So my opponent gets to go therapy me 3 times. So that means they either take my entire hand, they get all of their Phoenixes back. We have gotten question mark, question mark, question mark from our opponent in chat. Yeah, tell me about it. Alright, that's a Night's Whisper. Goodbye, cards. I knew thee well. Alright, so they're gonna save 1 therapy to make it easier to bring Phoenixes back later. Yeah, I'm just gonna like make a Marit Lage on turn 2 and it's not gonna be good enough. Yeah, that card does nothing. And I just, like, don't have any other game, so I can't really just, like, hold the Marit Lage back and just be defensive against these Phoenixes. That's just not gonna work for me. Uh, don't have enough lands where I can just, like, Enlighten Tutor for Phyrexian on life either. I'm getting lightning bolted. Yeah, that just means I'm gonna die this turn to triple Phoenix. Cool. Alright. Deafening Silence seems okay. Um, Surgical Extraction is, I guess, okay. Awkward with Leyline. I guess Swords to Plowshares is okay. I guess the good news is that if I actually assemble one of my combos, I should theoretically win. Let's go Leyline of Sanctities out. Go Enlighten Tutor out. And, let's see if we can, get a game here. Yes. God damn it. Can't keep a hand that has, like, a Leyline of Dark Depths and, like, no ability to actually cast literally any spells. This hand is unkeepable as well. Like, my mana doesn't work. Yep. Alright. Okay. Sure. I will keep 5 of these. The Helmet goes back, and honestly, I probably need to throw back the Swords to Plowshares and just keep the Tomic. Just so I can have, like, something I can play as a proactive card. Ugh. I have no idea if my opponent is going to have a way to answer Leyline of the Void or my other enchantments. I guess I can find out. Oh, they also have Chain of Smog combo. Cool. So I just die to that next turn. Yeah, Stone Cold dead to that if my opponent goes for it. Unless I hit my other Swords to Plowshares here or a discard spell. Oh, it's Enlighten Tutor. Cool. I guess I can see if my opponent, like, doesn't go for it. It sure seems like they're going for it. In case you're not familiar with how this works, every time you cast or copy a spell, my opponent gets more stuff. Okay, I guess this one doesn't drain me. So I guess I could Enlighten Tutor for Phyrexian on life. No, like, they'll just have enough pests that, like, I just die to that anyway. Yeah, like, I can Enlighten Tutor for Phyrexian on life, but then my opponent knows to make enough to, like hit me for 19 and kill me on top of that. Yeah, alright, I'm gonna go ahead and just, concede this here. Like, this is not happening. That's rough. Alright, I don't do this very often, but we have not been able to win a single game here, and this has been pretty much a miserable play experience the whole league. This deck doesn't work. It doesn't work in any capacity. I don't mean that as an insult. I just mean that as like practical advice. There are 12 or maybe 13, relatively speaking, dead cards in this deck. The core combo of this deck of like Dark Depths, Hexmage, is the best part of this deck. Like that works. That's historically proven to work in Legacy. But trying to play a 3-mana enchantment with no ramp, followed by a like fourth land, like unmolested, is a difficult ask. Trying to resolve 2 CMC3 enchantments is a difficult ask. Leyland of Sanctity doing anything in game 1, probably not going to happen. Your Enlightened Tutor being a good card is just like not going to happen. That card is just like not Legacy power level anymore. It used to be that it was a reasonable thing to use as a selection spell in control decks or very occasionally combo decks, but the format is just so fast right now. Like the Uro decks are kind of slow, and occasionally you'll play against something like Grixis Control that's kind of slow. But a lot of the better Legacy decks right now interact early and often. You know, think about your Delver decks where you're facing down Wasteland, Force of Will, Force of Negation, Daze, as well as decent threats backing that up. And your control decks, like, they're not just soft to something like a Marit Lage either. Like, we played against control decks that had Teferi and Brazen Borrower and Karakas. And I think this deck would just need to be reworked from the ground up. I just don't think this is viable the way that it is. You know, maybe you can build a version that has Ancient Tombs and Chalices and gets rid of the early interaction to just like ramp these things out faster. But then like you're having an Ancient Tomb mana base that also has Vampire Hexmage. Maybe you need Chrome Mox. Maybe you just need to be a blue deck so you can play Brainstorm and Ponder and cantrip towards these lock pieces or combo pieces. But I don't feel like this deck accomplishes anything better than archetypes doing similar things. Like, this is not faster than a Turbo Depths deck. This is, you know, not playing around more things like a Rainbow Depths deck is. This isn't an A plus B combo deck that actually wins the game on the spot when you assemble the combo, like so many other Legacy combo decks are. And as a result, like, we did nothing and died. Like, we played 4 rounds of Magic in what I imagine is probably less than an hour and a half. And I had so few choices during this league, and that's rough. So, Donor, Mitchell, I hope you got something out of this league, even if it's just like, hey, the idea as I have it does not work out. And I hope this gives you some things to think about. But this one was a stinker. Not every deck list that I play on this channel is a winner, but this one didn't work. We mulliganed into Oblivion, and we just had a lot of cards that did nothing in our deck. Anyway, YouTube folks, I hope you enjoyed if you made it this far. Maybe watching me get bullied from time to time instead of doing the bullying is fun too. All right, have a great rest of the day, folks.